obviously I'm a little bit more actively involved than I have been in the last year, which is by design, and that was fun. I enjoyed it, really getting back involved with it. So I know you guys got some questions, so let's take it away.
Why you decided to be more active, first of all, I guess?
Well, I love football. I mean, I love doing all the other stuff, but I missed being actively involved in it. And then, the next thing is offensively. I mean, my name's on it, and so I'm going to get involved in it because of that. And the other thing about it is that I enjoy doing that. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it's kind of what I got into the business for. And I think that it can help us. I really do. So I'm excited about getting back involved in it.
I know last year you had a hard time just by habit staying away from the receivers. When we were out there, you were with the quarterbacks a lot. Will you dance around and move, or are you going to sit with the quarterbacks?
No, I'm going to coach the quarterbacks this year.
Okay.
Rob is still going to carry the same title, but I'm going to call the offense, and I'm going to coach the quarterbacks this year. And that doesn't have anything to do with Rob. It has to do with me doing it. And I want to be actively involved, a lot more actively involved with our QBs and what we do offensively. We'll be a little bit different offensively than we were last year, and that's okay. I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that. We'll do a lot more of the stuff that I know and I'm more familiar with. And I'm excited about it because I know it fits our personnel well, and I think our guys are excited about it too. So I'll be with the quarterbacks the majority of the time, and really, I mean, that's why I've surrounded myself with guys on the staff here, with the new hires, with people that know what we're doing already. There's not a lot of teaching that has to be done because those guys know it. We've got some new people on our staff that have been in this offense for a long time, and what we do, more of the true air raid. And because of that, I didn't have to teach them anything. They already know how to do it. Jason Phillips, I learned a ton from him just growing up in the business. So it's great to have him on the staff.
Is there 10 words, 20 words that can sum up the difference between what you want to do and what you weren't doing last year?
Yeah, I think just empowerment of the quarterback and him being able to take advantage of what he sees. And I think that's kind of probably the biggest difference in what you'll see is we'll utilize those guys' minds a little bit more than probably we did in the past. And like I said, that's nothing against any other system. But, I was really busy last year trying to really build the program. And, you've got to be unselfish enough to be able to understand what you can handle and it still be productive for your program. And I feel like we've kind of gotten some of the parts going good enough to where I can get back into the part that I love, which is calling offensive football and being a part of it. That was way more than 20 words.
It was pretty good.
Yes.
And who will be on the headphones upstairs?
That's kind of yet to be determined. We're a little early with it right now, but Rob will definitely be up there. He'll be up there with me. We'll have a couple other guys up there. Zach Ginzer is another great weapon as well. Both those guys are brilliant guys, and they understand what we're doing as well. So Rob will definitely be up there. He'll be my eyes and ears up top.
Have you ever called plays from the sidelines?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
With Rice?
With Rice. Mm-hmm. And my entire career as a head coach in high school. So I've done it all those years and at Rice while I was doing it. And I really have only been in the box a couple times throughout my career, to be honest with you. So it was unfamiliar territory for me to be up there before. So this is very familiar for me, particularly in what we do. And if you notice, most of the people that run what we run, those guys call that offense from the field. They don't call it from the box. There's help from the box, but I guess you could. Just depends on what you want and what you want to do.
And what is it about that offense that makes you call it from the field better?
Well, I think a lot of it is because of really the quarterback is so free to get you in the right calls a lot of times. He can get you in the right things if it. A lot of the things that you do in that offense are all-purpose, which is good. And I think the other thing about it that really makes it, interesting for me and something I fell in love with is it's easy to teach that guy for us and what we do how to get us in the right call if something doesn't look really, really good to him. And that way you're never really running plays into bad looks. You try to avoid that at all costs. Defenses are getting good, though. They're finding a way to catch up, But that's the fun part about it. It's the cat and mouse game.
It sounds like a lot of this, when you explain the offense, it requires, when you use words like multi-purpose, it requires someone who can not only throw but is a running threat.
Not necessarily. I mean, if you research the guys that run the true air raid systems, you'll see very different personalities within each one of those guys. I mean, if you look at Coach Leach, he's a lot different than Cliff, and Cliff's a lot different than Dana, and and so on and so on. I mean, everybody has kind of their own little niche that they've kind of built that offense into. So some of them have a little bit more of a mobile quarterback. Dana had a mobile quarterback this year. I thought he did a great job creating an inside quarterback run game with those guys this year. He's a really, really smart guy. Cliff has some really, really fast receivers on the outside, and he plays to that personnel. He does a really, really good job. I mean, the good thing about what we do is it's very flexible to fit what you have and what personality you want to kind of press on with.
If you were to play your strengths offensively, I don't know how to word this, but do you really have any strengths yet in your program offensively?
Well, I think our strength right now is that we've got a bunch of guys that have played ball now, which is good. So just having some experience is really good. We didn't really have that last year, which is something that you can't get. You just got to go get it. And then I think the other thing is we've got some very capable guys out on the edge that I think are really good players. And I think that we've done a good job recruiting running backs here. I mean, I think those young guys are pretty good now. Taylor Martin's a good player. Keon Kenner had a separated shoulder all year last year. Got his shoulder fixed. He's out right now for a little while, but he's a talented guy, but he had a torn labrum from the time he got here. So he made it through the season. That was tough, but he didn't make it through the whole season. It's hard to do it with as bad a tear as he had. But those two guys being back are going to help us. Ryan Shadler's a talented guy. The kid that we just signed, Khalil Herbert out of Florida, is a talented guy. Those guys really fit nicely in what we do. Really fit nicely in what we do.
What was your plan for the quarterbacks heading into spring, and how does it change with Ryan limited?
Well, obviously, Ryan was the incumbent, to be honest with you, as he came back in. And he'll be out for a little while, until he can get the cast on and get everything moving around. He'll do what he can do. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world that he's not going through some of it. We don't take as many risks there. But, he's still going to be able to do a whole lot, which is good. And I can train him a lot without even taking a ball, under center, which is good. But I thought, once again, Montel did a great job today. I thought he did a really nice job. It's going to give us the opportunity to give more snaps to young guys like Carter Stanley and, seeing DeAndre Ford and then Keaton Perry and some of those guys. I mean, those guys are going to all get their opportunities. We snapped the ball a lot out there. I mean, we snapped it over 100 times today in different situations, which is good. I think we had 47 on sevens, right at 35 team, another 12 or 15 team run pass, play action pass and screens. So a lot of snaps today, which is good. So we got plenty to go around, and it's going to be good for us to be able to evaluate the other guys. Whereas if they were all there, it naturally divides the reps up a little bit more. But we want to get him well fast because he's a talented kid.
So he would have been presumably the starter coming into the spring. Is that how that would have gone down? I mean,
Matt, I'm just not that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
you earn everything you get. I mean, he would have taken probably the first snap today. But it would have meant nothing. You get what you earn. And it doesn't matter if it's quarterback or it's the running back or the tight end or the tackle. It doesn't matter with the quarterback. I mean, those guys have got to prove to us that they can take care of the ball, that they can move the offense, that we can trust them. And, man, I love all those guys. I think we got some talented guys over there. It's going to be an interesting race.
Sure. You said Rob's still offensive coordinator today. What is his role now?
Rob, we're kind of basically trying to take advantage of all of our eyes that we have. He's working a little bit more with Zach on the offensive line right now, but he's still actively involved with our quarterbacks at times. So he's kind of a little bit more of a walk around guy right now. And Clint did some of that last year, which was good, and it allows him to kind of help me a little bit with where I was a little bit more of a walk around guy. Rob can go address some of the running back stuff, some of the O-line stuff, and we get a chance to come back and really kind of blend the information we got in practice to make sure we're doing everything efficiently. So we've kind of swapped roles a little bit in that regard.
Any concerns at all with all the game day duties that you have, that play calling, maybe take away some of your time and you won't have too much time to know?
No, not at all. I mean, when you make a decision like this, it's not as simple as just making the decision and you calling plays. You have to surround yourself with the proper staff that can take over some things to help you make sure you've got the game managed as well. And you still manage the game, but you have lots of people giving you information. So you make sure that you're right where you need to be when those things need to be made, those decisions need to be made. You put those plans in place. I mean, I'm not unlike a lot of coaches throughout the country. I mean, there's a lot of guys calling offense out there.
Was this the offense that Bryce used when you
No, not at all, actually. It's, I learned it when I went to Texas A&M, you know. So it is the true air raid. We were a little bit different than that last year. And that's okay. I mean, it is what it is, but at the end of the day, you know, I just believe strongly in what I know about what we do with this offense. So I'm excited about moving forward. And I can kind of see it in our guys' eyes because they have some freedom to get us into good things, and it's kind of an exciting deal for those guys.
Even with the turnover and all the new faces, you know, your staff is certainly, but even a few new players, did you feel, you looked pretty crisp, ones and twos and everybody moving around. Did you feel like it was starting over, or did you feel like you're way ahead of day one from last year?
I mean, you know, we're way ahead. I mean, if you remember last year, Matt, I mean, you never see me leave special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, but I've hired a guy that has done it for years in this conference, and he's done it extremely well. Probably, arguably one of the best over the last decade. So, I mean, if Joe can't do it, man, I'm in trouble. So, no, he's really good. It allows me to kind of go and move over and kind of really work closely with those QBs and work on trying to get the fundamental part of them better, which will help us in turn be better as a team. So we're certainly not starting over. I was really pleased with the carryover. I was really pleased with basically the way we moved around today. You know, with it not being the sunniest all day long, I was concerned a little bit about how we'd handle it psychologically, but man, they did a great job. We had spirited practice. We had great competitions today. They were competing the entire day, and I thought we did a good job of taking care of each other and not being crazy out there and running into one another.
The new coaches look like they're integrated pretty quick. They look pretty comfortable out there. Do you think the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and there's a reason why those guys are here. They know what we're doing. I mean, most of those guys are learning very little. I mean, they were almost plug and play. They know what they're doing already. So there was, you know, Tony Hull's been running what I run for a long time at Warren Easton. I mean, the terminology is almost exactly the same. So he was able to plug and play. He came and studied with us at A&M, and I mean, it was very, very similar stuff. So some of that was by design, but the real part of it was because they were the right men. And I say it over and over again. That's the deal, getting the right men here.
You mentioned Ryan, obviously, and Keon. Any other injury status that's noteworthy?
You know, Jordan Shelley Smith's shoulder, you know, he had shoulder surgery after the season, so he'll be very limited in spring. But those guys all look good. Murphy Grant's done a great job getting them well. We'll be cautious with them. Brandon Stewart, we'll be a little bit cautious with him. He's got an ankle that will take a little while to get right. You know, Ben Johnson, he made it through almost a full practice today, and he strained his hamstring the other day in some testing stuff. But he's a tough kid, man. He looks great. I'm very impressed with the way Ben looks. Ben could be a guy that could be very productive for us in what we're doing right now. So I'm excited about the way he's looked and the amount of weight he's put on and the way he's put it on, because he can move around and be very, very instrumental for us, I think. He's definitely a guy I'm really excited about.
Was Ken Taylor's departure his decision, your decision, or did he think that somehow take the decision out of your hands?
No, it was kind of a mutual decision at that point. You know, I value Kent. Kent's a great kid. I have nothing bad to say about Kent at all. He worked his tail off when he was here. He gave us zero problems. He was a great kid. He felt like it was going to be in his best interest to move on, and you know, I hated it because I love him. I didn't want him to leave, but at the end of the day, there's circumstances surrounding all of us that maybe not everybody's aware of, and you know, I'm one of those guys that I listen, I pay close attention. I don't think it costs you anything to listen. And I listened to him, and I do believe that he made the best decision for him and his family based on the circumstances. I love him. I wish him the best of luck. I really do. And I hate that we don't have him. And I wish him the best of luck. I hope it works out for him. I think it will. Skylar Miles is medical, and he has had that poor guy. I tell you, I don't know if I've seen a guy more banged up than Skylar was. Bless his heart. I mean, between his knee and his hip, I mean, that guy has been through it now. His knee is in bad shape, and he and his parents, we all spoke, and we thought it was in his best interest. He felt like it was in his best interest for him to be done. The kid was just hurting, and it would have been unfair for us to ask him to continue on because he really couldn't. He just couldn't. You know, but hey, that is what it is. It gives somebody else another chance, another open opportunity. So I'm excited about those guys that are going to get that chance. And I wish Skylar the best. He's still around with us. He's around from time to time.
Hey, watching Bolani and Isaac Davis go through drills, they give you some good size.
Some girth.
We haven't had that.
Yeah, you know, I talk all the time about turning on that tape, and when you look at that butt view of that tape, you need to be seeing butts from hash to hash. I mean, that's kind of what big time football looks like. And you know, those guys are really, really big, good looking dudes. I mean, we felt like we needed to go and find some guys that had the right type of size to be able to hold up in A gaps, and I think both those guys are going to be good fits for us. It's really early to tell, but they both did a great job in off season. That's usually a great indicator for big guys like that, and both of them really did a great job. Issy strained his pec the other day, so he'll be out for a little while. We're just going to be very careful with him, but he's a strong dude. I mean, that's how he did it, you know. But he is a good-looking kid, great kid. I like Isaac Davis. I really like Isaac Davis. I mean, he was in our backfield a bunch today in the team setting that I noticed, and you know, we didn't see a lot of those tackles in that backfield a lot last year, but they were in our backfield a lot today. So I think that kid's got some quick twitch to him. But we'll see. We'll see.
Joel's not to read in much of those first snaps, but Liquivante, you can correct me on the name there.
Liquivante?
Liquivante, he was in there in that first one. I mean, is he supposed to be a guy that you look to be the top receiver right away, or?
You know, he certainly could be a guy that could be a number one for us. There's no doubt. He's got the skill set, and I know that he gave our defense a great look last year, probably more than we could handle at times. He's a very, very fast kid. I mean, he's a real low 40 guy. He played for me at A&M. He knows our system really well, and we're going to be able to utilize him in a number of different ways that will help us. We'll start very basic here, but pretty soon we'll start using him in some very unique ways because he's carried the ball in the backfield. I mean, he can do a lot of things.
Day one, what do you think? This was a big storyline last year with Alovia and Mosby, and obviously Dorrance came on, had a pretty good freshman year. Day one here, what do you expect more from those guys now that they kind of have that 1 year under their belts? I know you expected a lot last year, too.
Yeah. You know, coming out of day one last year, I think I probably went on record as saying that D-line was our strength. And, you know, I don't think we didn't play up to that. And I tell you, the additions that we made this year with the D tackles, I think are going to be really helpful. I also think that Michael Slater, just in one day, I could tell just a little bit of a difference out there with him. He brings a little bit of a different demeanor that was really interesting to watch today. And he, you know, it's not a surprise to me. He did it with guys at Rice. I mean, year in and year out, he does a great job. But those guys, I think they know for us to be good, it's always about what goes on up front in the trenches. Front on the offensive line, defensive line, we got to get better there fast. That'll help us make those guys in the back end a little bit more comfortable and be able to actually see what type of players they are. You know, the better you are up front, you know, the better those guys in the back end look a lot of times. The worse you are up front, boy, it makes it hard to even know how good those dudes are. You know. One more.
How much better are you up front offensively?
I think we are definitely better. Tom, it's so early to tell. I mean, when you're out there in underwear and that's it, it's hard to tell. You know, I'm just glad we're back out there, to be honest with you. Until we get 7, 8, 9 practices into it, I don't know that I'll be able to make a comment that really means anything. But I will say this, you know, last year at this time, I told you a year from now, we'll be surprised we ever got a playoff. I can't believe we got a snap off last year at this time. But you know what? That's just the nature of what we do. And the carryover today was, I mean, it was awesome because as a coach, you didn't have to worry about any of that. I mean, I don't think we had a single 5-yard penalty today. I don't think we had one on either side of the ball, which is a big goal for us. And I don't think we had a single bad snap. Everything was there. Defensively, I thought those guys stayed on sides really, really well. They just things that you have to do to win. 5-yard penalties will change your season. And they did a nice job of that today. We got to continue to build on it. 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 We got to continue to build